When strangers become saviors. Captain Elena Vasquez had always believed that space was vast enough to hide from any trouble. She was wrong, dead wrong. Her exploration vessel, the Meridian, drifted powerless in the void between stars, its fusion core shattered by a meteorite impact that should have been impossible to miss. The asteroid had appeared on sensors for exactly 3 seconds before punching through her ship's hull like a bullet through paper. Elena floated in the dim emergency lighting of her command deck, watching her breath form small clouds in the rapidly cooling air. Life support was failing. The communication array was destroyed. Her ship's distress beacon had enough power for maybe another 6 hours. In a region of space where no Earth vessel had ever traveled, 6 hours might as well have been 6 seconds. She had volunteered for this deep space survey mission because she wanted to be the first human to discover something truly extraordinary. Instead, she was about to become another statistic in humanity's dangerous expansion into the unknown. The irony wasn't lost on her. Elena had survived 3 different alien encounters, 2 asteroid field navigations, and a solar flare that had fried half her systems. Now she was going to die because of a rock the size of a basketball. The sensor console flickered weakly, showing something impossible. A ship was approaching. Elena's heart jumped with desperate hope before logic crushed it down. No human vessels were within 3 light-years of her position. Whatever was coming toward her was definitely not from Earth. The alien vessel appeared on her view screen like something from a dream. It moved with fluid grace, its hull rippling with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed in complex rhythms. The ship looked less like a machine and more like a living creature swimming through space. Elena had seen alien technology before, but nothing quite like this. The vessel seemed to be carved from some kind of organic material that shifted colors from deep blue to silver as it moved. Elena's communication systems crackled to life, filled with sounds unlike anything in human experience. The alien language was melodic, almost like whale song mixed with the gentle sound of waves lapping against a shore. Her universal translator struggled with the unfamiliar patterns before finally producing choppy English words. Vessel in distress. Are you living being? We are Kitharan. We wish to help. Elena keyed her response with shaking hands. Her voice came out as a whisper, but she forced herself to speak clearly. This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth vessel Meridian. I am human. My ship is dying, and I will die with it soon. I don't know who you are, but thank you for stopping. The alien voice returned, clearer now as the translator learned to process their language. We are Kitharan. We swim between stars as we swim in oceans. All life is precious in the deep. We will help you, Elena of Earth. Elena watched in amazement as the alien ship extended what looked like organic tendrils toward her vessel. The tendrils attached to her hull with gentle precision, and suddenly her ship was moving. The Kitharans were somehow pulling her vessel toward their own. Through her view screen, she could see creatures moving inside the alien ship. They were tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to shimmer like scales but moved like smooth flesh. Their large eyes were adapted for seeing in deep water, and they moved with the fluid motions of natural swimmers. The rescue process took several hours. The Kitharans worked with careful patience, first stabilizing Elena's life support, then creating a temporary habitat bridge between their vessels. When Elena first stepped aboard their ship, she felt like she was entering an underwater world. The corridors were filled with a breathable atmosphere, but everything was designed around flowing curves and organic shapes. Soft bioluminescent panels provided gentle lighting that reminded her of moonlight filtering through ocean water. The Kitharan who greeted her introduced himself as flow singer Narration. He was nearly 7 feet tall, with skin that shifted between blue and green depending on his emotional state. His voice, even through the translator, carried the musical quality that seemed natural to his species. Welcome aboard the Deep Current, Elena of Earth. You are safe now. Your vessel can be repaired, but it will take time. Please, allow us to care for you while our technicians work. Elena spent 3 days aboard the Kitharan ship while they rebuilt her fusion core using technology she couldn't begin to understand. The Kitharans treated her with gentle kindness that seemed to come naturally to them. They shared their food, which tasted like the ocean but somehow satisfied human nutritional needs perfectly. They showed her their art, which consisted of complex light patterns that told stories of vast underwater cities and ancient migrations between stars. Flow singer Narration explained that the Kitharans were explorers and healers who traveled between worlds with deep oceans. They had evolved on a planet covered entirely in water, and they had learned to see all life as part of a vast, interconnected ocean that flowed throughout the universe. We do not understand war, Nerion told her as they sat in an observation chamber watching stars wheel past. We do not understand hatred or conquest. These concepts are dry lands to us, empty places where nothing can grow. We believe all beings are swimmers in the same infinite sea. Elena tried to explain human civilization to them, but found it difficult to describe concepts like territorial disputes or resource competition to beings who saw abundance everywhere they looked. The Kytherans listened politely but seemed genuinely puzzled by the idea that different species might fight over space or materials. On the third day, Elena's ship was fully repaired and upgraded with Kytheran technology that would prevent similar accidents in the future. As she prepared to leave, she tried to offer payment for their help. The Kytherans refused everything she suggested. What payment does the ocean ask from the fish? Nerion asked. What price does the current demand from the swimmer? You were in need. We helped. This is simply the way of things. Elena felt tears in her eyes as she prepared to depart. These beings had saved her life, repaired her ship, and asked for nothing in return. They had treated her not as a strange alien, but as a fellow traveler in the vast ocean of space. I want you to know, she told Nerion as they stood at the airlock between their ships. Humanity will remember this kindness. If your people ever need help, ever need anything at all, you can call on us. I give you my word as a human being and as a captain in Earth's exploration fleet. Nerion's skin shifted to a warm golden color that Elena had learned indicated deep emotion. Your words create currents of warmth in the deep places of our hearts, Elena of Earth. We will remember them. But we ask for nothing except that you swim well in whatever currents carry you forward. Elena returned to Earth with detailed records of her encounter and samples of Kytheran technology that revolutionized human understanding of bioengineering. Her official report became the foundation for humanity's first peaceful contact protocols. But more than that, her story became part of human culture. The tale of the Kytherans who asked nothing for saving a human life became a symbol of the kind of species humanity wanted to become as they expanded into the galaxy. The Kytheran star charts became part of Earth's navigation database, but the region of space where they lived was declared off-limits to human expansion. Elena insisted that humanity should respect the Kytherans' peaceful nature and avoid contaminating their culture with human conflicts and ambitions. For 15 years, Elena carried the memory of her rescue like a sacred trust. She advanced through the ranks of Earth's diplomatic corps, always advocating for peaceful solutions and mutual aid between species. She never forgot Flowsinger Nerion's words about all life being part of the same infinite ocean. She never imagined that one day the Kytherans would need to call in the debt they had never asked her to acknowledge. When hope becomes desperation. 15 years after Elena's rescue, the message arrived through deep space communication networks like a song of desperate sorrow. The transmission came through Kytheran biorelays carried by living ships that had traveled for months to reach the nearest human outpost. When the signal finally reached Earth, it was high-tide speaker Zephyros himself who delivered the words that would change the course of human history. Admiral Jackson Torres stood in the Earth Defense Command Center, watching the holographic image of the Kytheran leader materialize before him. Zephyros was ancient by Kytheran standards, his skin bearing the deep blue-black coloration that marked the eldest members of his species. His usually melodic voice carried notes of despair that the translation system struggled to convey. Children of Earth, swimmers in the starry deep, Zephyros began, his image flickering with the distance and interference of interstellar communication. We reach out across the vast currents of space to those who once promised remembrance. We are dying. Admiral Torres felt his stomach clench with dread. He had read Elena's reports dozens of times, had studied the peaceful Kytherans as part of his military education. The idea of these gentle beings facing extinction seemed like a violation of natural law. Elena Vasquez, now serving as Earth's senior alien affairs diplomat, stepped forward from her position at the rear of the command center. She was older now, her black hair streaked with silver, but her eyes still held the same determination that had carried her through her deep space exploration days. High-tide speaker, she said, her voice cutting through the static. This is Elena Vasquez. You saved my life 15 years ago. Tell us what threatens your people. Zephyros's image shifted, his bioluminescent patterns flickering with what Elena recognized as relief mixed with desperate hope. Elena, who swims among stars, your voice brings warmth to the deep, cold places of our fear. A great swarm comes to our home waters. Asteroids, countless as the sands of dead worlds, racing toward our ocean planet like teeth of some cosmic beast. The display screens around the command center lit up with data as the Catharan message included detailed astronomical information. Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's leading astrophysicist, worked frantically at her console before looking up with pale features. Admiral, the data is confirmed. A massive asteroid swarm is on collision course with the Kytheran homeworld. We're talking about thousands of objects ranging from small meteorites to planetoid-sized bodies. The impact will strip away their atmosphere and boil their oceans. It's an extinction-level event. Elena stepped closer to the holographic image of Zephyros. High Tide Speaker, what is your timeline? When will the swarm reach your world? By your measurements, 6 of your months remain before the first stones fall. Our people work to evacuate what lives they can to our colony worlds, but most of our civilization cannot be moved. Our great cities grow in the deep places of our oceans. Our knowledge reefs contain millions of years of accumulated wisdom. Our spawning grounds hold the next generation of our people. We cannot save them all. Admiral Torres studied the tactical displays with the eye of a career military officer. What defensive capabilities do your people possess? Surely your technology can deflect or destroy incoming asteroids. Zephyros's skin darkened to the deep blue-black that indicated profound sadness. We are builders and healers, not destroyers. Our ships are grown for harmony with the cosmic currents, not for war against them. We can nudge small objects, guide them to safer paths, but the great stones are beyond our strength. We face the deep darkness, and we have no weapons against it. Elena felt her heart breaking as she watched the proud, peaceful being admit his people's helplessness. The Kytherans had evolved past the need for destructive technology. They had achieved something humanity still struggled toward, a civilization based entirely on creation and healing rather than conquest and destruction. Now that very achievement might doom them. High Tide Speaker, Elena said, her voice steady despite the emotion churning inside her. Humanity remembers our debt. We will help. The reaction in the command center was immediate and divided. Several military advisors began speaking at once, voicing concerns about risking human lives for aliens, questioning whether humanity had the resources to mount such a massive rescue operation, arguing that Earth's first responsibility was to its own people. General Marcus Webb, Torres's chief of staff, voiced the objections bluntly. Admiral, with all due respect to Ambassador Vasquez's personal feelings, we need to consider the practical realities. The Kytheran system is nearly 4 months away at maximum fold space speed. We'd need to mobilize our entire deep space fleet, plus engineering cores, plus enough firepower to move or destroy thousands of asteroids. We're talking about the largest military operation in human history, all to save aliens who can't defend themselves. Elena turned to face the room full of Earth's military leadership. Her voice carried the authority of someone who had spent 15 years building humanity's first peaceful relationships with alien species. General Webb, these aliens who can't defend themselves saved my life when they had no reason to help me. They ask for nothing in return except that the kindness be remembered. They share their knowledge freely. Their biotechnology has revolutionized our medicine, and they have never once threatened or competed with human expansion. If we abandon them now, what does that say about who we are as a species? Dr. Chen looked up from her calculations. Actually, Admiral, this might be more feasible than it first appears. The Kytherans' biotechnology, combined with our fusion engineering and gravitational manipulation systems, could create unprecedented asteroid deflection capabilities. We've been developing planetary defense systems for Earth. This would be field testing them on a massive scale. Admiral Torres walked to the main display, studying the tactical projections. The Catharan system was far from human space, but not impossibly so. Earth's shipbuilding capabilities had expanded dramatically in the 15 years since first contact. The human fleet was larger and more advanced than ever before. Dr. Chen, what would we need to mount an effective asteroid deflection operation? Minimum 50 capital ships equipped with gravitational beam arrays, plus support vessels for engineering and logistics. The new fusion torpedoes could break up the larger asteroids, while coordinated gravitational beams could deflect the smaller ones. With Kytheran bioships providing precise navigation through the swarm, it's actually possible. Elena stepped forward. Admiral, the Kytherans don't think like we do. They see this as a natural disaster, not a military problem. But they understand currents and flows better than any human engineer. If we combine our destructive capabilities with their natural understanding of cosmic forces, we can save their world. President Sarah Mitchell's voice came through the secure communication link from the presidential residence. Admiral Torres, I've been monitoring this briefing. The decision to mount this operation requires authorization from the highest levels of government. The resources involved, the risks to human personnel, the precedent it sets for future alien aid requests, all of these factors must be considered. Elena looked directly at the camera transmitting to the president. Madam President, 15 years ago, a group of alien beings saved my life for no reason other than their belief that all life has value. They never asked for payment, never demanded treaties or trade agreements, never tried to extract any advantage from their kindness. They simply did what they thought was right. Now they're facing extinction, and they're asking humanity to prove that we learned something from their example. The command center fell silent as everyone waited for the president's decision. Through the holographic communicator, Zephyros waited with the patience of his people, his bioluminescent patterns dim with exhaustion and fear. President Mitchell's voice returned after what felt like hours but was probably only minutes. Admiral Torres, you are authorized to begin immediate mobilization of Operation Deep Current. We will honor humanity's debt to the Kitharans. Make whatever preparations are necessary. Elena felt tears streaming down her face as she turned back to Zephyros's image. High Tide Speaker, humanity is coming. We will save your people and your world. Zephyros's skin erupted in brilliant patterns of gold and silver, colors Elena had never seen a Kitharan display before. Elena, who remembers promises, your people swim in currents of honor that run deeper than any ocean. We will prepare our bioships to guide you through the stone swarm. Together, we will turn the tide of darkness. Within hours, mobilization orders went out across human space. The largest fleet in human history began assembling at the Titan shipyards. Engineers worked around the clock to modify vessels for asteroid deflection. The countdown to departure began, marking humanity's first great test as a species that kept its promises to the stars. When debt becomes victory. The human fleet that emerged from fold space at the edge of the Kitharan system was unlike anything that had ever sailed between stars. 57 capital ships led by Admiral Torres's flagship, the UES Honorbound, accompanied by 200 support vessels carrying the most advanced gravitational manipulation technology humanity had ever built. The sight of so many human ships arriving in formation brought an entirely new color pattern from the Kytheran bioships, brilliant spirals of hope mixed with amazement. Elena stood on the bridge of the Honorbound, watching through the main view screen as the Kytheran homeworld grew larger ahead of them. The planet was even more beautiful than she had imagined from Nerion's descriptions 15 years earlier. Vast blue oceans stretched from pole to pole, broken only by small island chains that served as landing platforms for Kytheran space vessels. The entire world seemed to pulse with life, its bioluminescent cities visible even from space as soft glows beneath the water's surface. But dominating the view ahead was the asteroid swarm. Thousands upon thousands of rocky bodies, ranging from pebbles to mountain-sized chunks of debris, formed a deadly cloud that stretched across millions of kilometers of space. The swarm moved with inexorable purpose toward the defenseless world below, a cosmic avalanche that would end millions of years of Kitharan civilization. Flowsinger Nerion's voice came through the communication systems, older now but still carrying the musical quality Elena remembered. Elena, who returns with the tide of honor, we welcome your swift ships to our dying waters. The stone teeth draw close. By our calculations, the first great impacts will begin in 18 days. Admiral Torres activated the fleet-wide communication network. All vessels, this is Admiral Torres. We have 18 days to deflect or destroy enough of this swarm to save the Kitharan homeworld. I won't lie to you about the odds. This is the largest deflection operation ever attempted, but we're not just fighting for an alien world. We're fighting to prove that humanity keeps its promises, no matter the cost. Dr. Chen, who had insisted on joining the mission despite the dangers, worked at her science station surrounded by displays showing the swarm's composition and movement patterns. Admiral, the Kitharan bioships are already providing incredibly detailed navigation data. They can predict the exact path of every asteroid larger than 10 meters. With that information, our targeting systems can achieve precision we never thought possible. The operation began immediately. Human capital ships spread throughout the outer edges of the swarm, their gravitational beam arrays working in perfect coordination with Kitharan bioships that swam through the asteroid field like dolphins through ocean currents. The Kitharans had evolved to navigate three-dimensional underwater environments, and space was simply another ocean to them. They guided human ships to optimal positions with instinctive understanding that no human pilot could match. Captain Maria Santos, commanding the destroyer UES Defiant, reported the first successful deflection attempts. Admiral, the gravitational beams are working perfectly. We're nudging the smaller asteroids into new trajectories that will carry them safely past the planet. The Kitharan ship Gentle Current is guiding us through the swarm like they can see the future paths of every rock. But not all the asteroids could be deflected. Some were simply too massive, too dense, moving too fast for gravitational manipulation alone. For these giants, humanity deployed its more destructive capabilities. Fusion torpedoes, each carrying the explosive power of a small star, detonated among the larger asteroids, breaking them into fragments small enough for the gravitational beams to handle. Lieutenant Commander David Park, piloting the fast attack craft UES Lightning Strike, dove deep into the swarm to plant fusion charges on the largest asteroids. His ship was barely 100 meters long, tiny compared to the mountain-sized rocks surrounding him, but its speed and maneuverability allowed him to navigate where larger vessels couldn't follow. "This is Lightning Strike," Park reported, his voice tight with concentration. "I'm approaching target designation Alpha 7. It's the size of a small moon, and it's heading straight for the Kitharan capital city, setting fusion charges for maximum fragmentation." The explosion that followed lit up space like a newborn star. The massive asteroid shattered into thousands of smaller pieces, each one now small enough for the gravitational beams to deflect. But the debris field created new navigation hazards that threatened both human and Kitharan vessels. Elena watched from the bridge as Kitharan bioships moved through the expanding debris field with impossible grace. Their living hulls could apparently sense and avoid impacts that would destroy conventional spacecraft. More than once, she saw Kitharan vessels rescue human ships that had become trapped in debris clouds, their organic technology somehow creating safe passages through areas that seemed impassable. High-tide speaker Zephyros coordinated the Kitharan efforts from his flagship, the massive biovessel Deep Memory. His ship was over 2 kilometers long but moved through space with the fluid motions of a living creature. Its bioluminescent patterns provided constant communication with other Kitharan vessels, creating a network of coordination that operated faster than any electronic system. "Swimmers of Earth," Zephyros broadcast to the human fleet, "your fire weapons crack the great stones as lightning splits the ancient ice. Our guide ships will lead your vessels through the fragments. Together we turn the stone tide away from our spawning grounds." The work continued for 12 days without pause. Human crews worked in rotating shifts while Kitharans seemed to need no rest at all, their bioships operating continuously as they guided deflection operations throughout the asteroid field. Gradually, the deadly swarm began to disperse. Thousands of asteroids were nudged into new orbits that would carry them harmlessly past the planet. Hundreds of the largest rocks were shattered into manageable fragments. But with 6 days remaining until impact, the worst threat still remained. At the heart of the swarm was an asteroid nearly 50 kilometers across, a dark mountain of metal and stone that the Kitharans called the Deep Darkness. It was too large to deflect, too dense to shatter with conventional fusion weapons, and its trajectory would take it directly into the planet's largest ocean, creating tsunamis that would destroy every coastal city on the world. Dr. Chen worked frantically at her calculations, trying to find a solution to the impossible problem. "Admiral, we've tried everything. Even our largest fusion torpedoes won't do more than chip pieces off that monster. We need something bigger." Elena studied the tactical displays with growing desperation. They had come so far, saved so much, and now the largest threat was beyond their power to stop. She thought of the gentle Kitharans who had saved her life, who had asked for nothing in return, and felt the weight of impending failure crushing down on her. It was Narration who provided the answer. His bioship Deep Current had been working alongside human vessels throughout the operation, and he had been studying human technology with the same curiosity that had driven Kitharan exploration for millions of years. "Elena, who swims among fire stars," Narayan's voice came through the communicators with an undertone of excitement. "We have observed your fusion weapons and learned their nature. What if the fire could be made to burn from within the great stone, rather than merely striking its surface?" Dr. Chen looked up from her displays with sudden understanding. "He's right. We've been thinking about this wrong. Instead of trying to break the asteroid from outside, we drill to its core and detonate fusion charges from within. The expansion will crack it like an egg." Admiral Torres nodded grimly. "That would require someone to fly directly to the asteroid, land on its surface, and plant charges while it's still moving toward the planet. It's a suicide mission." Elena stepped forward without hesitation. "Admiral, I volunteer. It's my debt to pay." But before Torres could respond, Narayan's voice cut through the bridge communications. "No, Elena, who remembers kindness. This task requires both your fire weapons and our knowledge of the stone currents. We will swim together into the deep darkness." The final mission was unlike anything in the history of space warfare. Elena's fast courier ship, the UES Promise Keeper, flew in formation with Narion's biovessel Deep Current as they approached the massive asteroid. The Kitharan ship used its organic sensors to map the asteroid's internal structure, while Elena's vessel carried the fusion charges that would destroy it. Landing on the surface of a 50-kilometer asteroid while it hurtled through space required navigation skills that pushed both human and Kitharan technology to their limits. But working together, they found safe landing sites and began the dangerous work of drilling to the asteroid's core. Elena worked alongside Kitharan technicians in environmental suits designed for their aquatic physiology. The aliens moved with the same fluid grace and zero gravity that they showed underwater, their biotools carving through solid rock as if it were soft clay. Human fusion drills complemented Kitharan organic mining techniques, creating access shafts that penetrated deep into the asteroid's heart. With only 18 hours remaining until impact, they placed the final fusion charges and retreated to minimum safe distance. The explosion that followed was visible from the Kitharan homeworld as a brief new star in their sky. The deep darkness, the great killer asteroid that threatened to destroy their civilization, cracked along internal fault lines and broke apart into harmless fragments. Elena and Narion stood together on the observation deck of his bioship, watching the fragments of the last great asteroid disperse into space. The threat was over. The Kitharan homeworld was safe. Elena, who brings the fire of honor, Narion said, his skin displaying patterns of deep gratitude and joy. Your species has proven that the currents of kindness flow in great circles through the deep. We offered help to one, and many returned to offer help to all. Elena watched the blue-green world turning peacefully below them, its cities glowing softly beneath the oceans. Narion, my people learned something important from yours 15 years ago. We learned that the universe is better when we help each other instead of fighting each other. Today, we proved we remembered the lesson. The rescue of the Kitharan homeworld became the foundation for humanity's first lasting interstellar alliance. Kitharan biotechnology, combined with human engineering, revolutionized space travel and planetary defense throughout human space. More importantly, the successful cooperation between two vastly different species proved that the galaxy was large enough for everyone to swim in the same cosmic ocean. Elena Vasquez, now remembered as the ambassador of the Deep Current, spent the rest of her career building bridges between human and Kitharan civilizations. But she never forgot the simple lesson that started it all. When someone helps you for no reason other than kindness, the debt belongs not just to you, but to everyone who comes after you. In the years that followed, when other alien species faced extinction events or natural disasters, they knew they could call on the Human-Kitharan Alliance for help. The universe had learned that some species kept their promises, no matter how impossible the odds seemed. The Song of the Deep Current, as Kitharan historians called the story, became part of both civilizations' founding myths. It told of the day when strangers became saviors, when a debt of honor became a victory for all life, and when two species proved that the greatest force in the universe was not gravity or nuclear fire, but the simple decision to help someone in need. Elena's promise, given in gratitude 15 years earlier, had become humanity's greatest achievement among the stars.